Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. I know how valuable your time is, and so I just appreciate you guys taking some time to be with us tonight. I'm really, really excited for you guys to hear Abby's story and just her perspective. She does such a great job of just giving like clear, grounded information about what is really possible here. And so, thank you, Abby, for taking the time to be with us tonight and just pour into all of these ladies.
You are so welcome. I am very excited to be here and to be with some of Miranda's team or future team and just to be able to pour into you guys for a little bit tonight. Like Miranda said, I know it's a busy front of the week night, so we'll try to keep this short and brief. I'm going to try to keep it to 30 minutes. So here we go. So yes, my name is Abby. I'm a mom of three and I live in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm a Sapphire Brain Ambassador here with Plexus, which is the second to top rank in the company. Over the last 7 years, I've helped hundreds of women see real results, not just with their health, but with building income that creates real margin in real lives. This leadership rank comes with some really fun perks, and we'll talk about those a little bit later. But I would love for you guys to have your chat open tonight. So if you go to the bottom of the Zoom, there's a bar, there's a button that says chat. Click on that because I'm going to be asking you some questions along the way, and I would love for you guys to engage there with me in the chat. So maybe you came here tonight and you're excited. Maybe you're curious. Maybe you're quietly wanting more, but also feeling skeptical. Wherever you are, it is totally fine, and I'm so glad that you are here. So my heart tonight is really just to simply share what I've lived, what I've experienced, what I've seen, and what I know is possible, and to give you guys a space to just reflect on what you want for your own lives. So before I share my story, I want to honor the women who invited you guys here tonight. Miranda Merchant, Jennifer Kellner, Emma Moody, Mindy Hess, or Melissa Bergner. You are here tonight because they saw something in you. They invited you intentionally because they believed that this could possibly bless your family in the way that it has blessed theirs and ours. And I especially want to speak about Miranda here for a second because she really is the heartbeat behind tonight. We actually knew each other in high school, although many years different. And we ran in totally different circles, but did have one mutual friend. And so I think we maybe interacted like once in high school. But it's really interesting how God brought our paths back together. And now we are working alongside, linking arms, and it's been just the best thing. She's one of those leaders who leads with vision and with heart. She cares deeply about people, not just their success, but their growth as moms, wives, leaders. She shows up consistently. She creates community. She believes big, not just for herself, but also for those on her team. And that is exactly why tonight matters so much. So go ahead and type in the chat who invited you here tonight. We would love to hear who invited you. And while you're in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much margin do you feel like you have right now? 1 being I have no margin in my life, and 10, I am living free as I please. Would love to hear in the chat 1 to 10, how much margin do you have? 1, none. 10, I am living life free as a bird as I please. I have all the time and income in the world. Okay. So as you guys are typing, I'm going to dive in. So 7 years ago, I was an elementary music teacher and a young mom of two, now three. I was trying to keep everything afloat, you guys. I loved my teaching job for about the first 8 years. And then year nine, I knew that I needed something to change. Maybe you have been there. Financially, we were pretty tight, living paycheck to paycheck, constantly doing the mental math in my head, feeling so anxious about our bills, repairs, anything unexpected like a broken furnace, broken dishwasher, that needs new tires, all true stories. I was exhausted. I was rushing through the mornings, trying to scramble to get my kids in the van. I was yelling, they were crying. I had the mom guilt, right? Dropping them off at daycare, heading to work, quickly to get there, do my job, come back home, feed them dinner, put them to bed, and it was the same cycle over and over and over. And I remember thinking, is this how it always will be? At the same time, my body was waving big red flags. I wasn't sleeping well. I relied on sugar to get through the day. I needed naps. I crashed in the afternoon. By evening, I had nothing left to give. And I was basically parenting from the couch. And also, I remember wondering again, will it ever get better? So, have you guys ever found yourself asking the same question? Put a one in the chat if you've ever thought, will it ever get better? Or is this how it will always be? If you can relate with me, put a one in the chat. And here's the thing, you guys, I didn't want dramatic, huge changes. It was the little things for me. I wanted to walk my son into kindergarten and not rush off to work. I wanted to bake muffins with my daughters in the afternoon because I wanted to. I wanted to have dinner on the table because I could. Live life during the week, not cram everything into the weekends. I wanted to go to the grocery store and buy organic groceries without having to run my credit card. I wanted to buy birthday gifts, Christmas gifts without stressing. I wanted to buy an outfit at full price, not off the clearance rack without guilt. I wanted to get my hair done without having to swap the cost for something else. And I remember thinking in the beginning, if I could just make like an extra two to three, even $400 a month, that would be enough. That would be more than enough for us. So I wanted more time. I needed more peace in my life. Definitely needed more margin and less arguing over bills and just more options in general. So, question for you guys, if a little pressure was lifted in your life right now, what's one small thing that would change for you? Maybe it's some extra time that you have on your hands, you have extra income. What's one thing that would change for you? Would love to hear that in the chat. So I was seeking a flexible way to contribute financially from home without everything falling on my husband's shoulders. But I didn't see how that was possible. And that's when my sister showed up out of the blue. She was posting a pink drink on Facebook, and I said, what is she doing? We don't drink that kind of stuff. And I was very skeptical. I'm very frugal. And I honestly did not think the products could work for me. The only reason I said yes was because she bought my first box for me. She's a really nice sister. But when she mentioned the opportunity to make some income, I immediately said no, no. And here's something I want you guys to know that's important about me. I never ever planned on doing network marketing. I'm an introvert. I wasn't active much on social media. I didn't have a big friends group at all. And my husband, he was not supportive. Not because he didn't love me, but because this felt really unfamiliar and risky and like another cost for us. And so I had a lot of reasons not to succeed here. But a few weeks into using the products consistently, something unexpected happened. I was sleeping better. I didn't need the afternoon naps every day. I was no longer laying on the colored rug in my classroom after lunch, just trying to get through the rest of my teaching day. My energy returned. I was calmer with my kids. I stopped crashing every afternoon and getting shaky before meals. I didn't know blood sugars were a thing. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I had control over my health again. And that's when it began to shift for me. Not overnight, not magically, but right on time. And it wasn't until someone actually encouraged me to dream and asked me what was really deep inside of me that was the turning point for me. So maybe you guys can relate with this, but I have been in survival mode for so long that I didn't even know what it was like to dream. I was living day to day, barely seeing my husband, living for the weekends, living for summer break just to make it through the week. And so the idea of dreaming was very foreign to me. And honestly, it felt like a waste of time. I wasn't asking myself, what would I want my life to look like? I was like, what is the rest of the day going to look like? And so I honestly shoved away any thoughts about a better future because I didn't think that was an option. But when someone encouraged me to pause and look within and look forward beyond my present circumstance, honestly, that is when things really started to click for me. someone else giving me permission to dream, it woke up something inside of me. And I started feeling excited again and motivated and hopeful. And for the first time in a long time, I was looking ahead with anticipation instead of worry, believing that maybe I'd found something that could actually be an answer to so many pressures our family was carrying. And I did. So I started to see clearly exactly what this income opportunity could allow for us. I had never driven a new vehicle before, ever. So the idea of a Plexus Lexus felt so far outside my reality, almost silly, yet I was very enticed by it. And we really didn't get to travel, nothing ever internationally, maybe a little road trip here and there. But again, we had to save or we had to make it as cheap as possible, pack the sandwiches, all the things so that I didn't get stressed with all the extra money that we were spending on a trip. And so the idea of traveling to like bucket list places never crossed my mind. Especially a company that would pay for me to travel. Like, is that actually a thing? Um, and just although, like, when I started thinking about it, I'm like, wow, that would be really nice to have a space to step away with my husband from like real life and have quality time to work on our marriage, to strengthen our friendship, to be able to give my kids experiences. Like, that sounds amazing. I want that. And I was sold out when my sister shared with me, hey, you can make a six-figure income here. As a teacher, I was nowhere near that, and I would never be. But this compensation plan, it has no cap. You can make as much as you want to make. And so that was very appealing to me too. Actually, one of our diamond leaders makes six figures a month. A month. That is just wild, isn't it? Think about what that kind of money could do for you or people in your life. Far more than a brain surgeon, right? And you don't have as much schooling, which is a really nice perk. Um, so in the chat, share with us, what's one thing you would pay off, purchase, or change if your monthly income you're making right now doubled or tripled? What would you pay off, purchase, or change if your income doubled or tripled? It's really fun to think about it. And here's the thing, too. It wasn't just the number that caught my eye, it was what it represented: margin, security, right? Options, ability to breathe and actually enjoy our life without worrying. What if this thing was a very thing that could change our future? Would I not be willing to take this step and try it? And I was willing. And I realized something important too, you guys. What looked like adding another thing to my plate, because I know that's what a lot of people say. I just don't have room for one more thing. I get it. That was me too. But adding one little thing onto my plate was actually the very thing that allowed me to take a lot of things off my plate in the long run. And that's when I made the decision. I didn't stumble into this. I chose it and I chose to go all in. And even though maybe it didn't check the box of what others expected of me, even though I knew that people might have opinions of me leaving the teaching classroom, even though putting myself on social media and taking selfies felt very strange, even though my husband didn't see it yet, I knew that saying yes to this would change our future. And when I pour into something, I'm going to do it with excellence and determination. And I thought if others could do this, then why could I not do it too? So I decided this would be our plan B. I had no intentions of it ever becoming our plan A. Remember, like I said, I just wanted to make $300 to $400 a month. So I stepped out of my comfort zone into a world of sharing Plexus with others. And that's when I noticed that there's so many women around, right? That are anxious, that are bloated, that are tired, that are moody, that are trying to lose the stubborn pounds over and over and over. And also, women are going to bed worrying about their finances. And so Plexus has a solution for both, right? We can help people with their health and their finances. We can literally help people with solutions that they're praying for. And so I realized I had a solution for both. And so I needed to share this boldly with people because if it was helping me, I knew it could help other people. And so I shared with my coworkers and old friends and family and members. And, I was messaging people on Facebook or mentioning it at school. And I wasn't there to convince anybody. I wasn't there to pressure anyone. I just believed in what this could do for them. And so I led with that and I grew my belief each day. So as I learned the skill set and took bold action, my team began to grow. One woman at a time, one conversation at a time. And what stood out to me about this, you guys, is um, women weren't just looking for health and wellness, they're looking for flexibility. They're looking for a way to contribute financially to take some pressure off their husband's shoulders without having to work extra shifts, without having to spend more time away from their families, right? They wanted a positive, encouraging community. Who wouldn't? A place to belong, right? A way to travel more and create memories with their family. And so I realized this was not just a wellness company, this was a vehicle for freedom or to freedom. So as my business grew steadily, I grew too. I will tell you guys that this opportunity has pulled a leader out of me that I didn't know was there. You know, someone told me, well, you're a leader. I'm like, am I? I don't think so. But it has really drawn that out of me and it's helped me with my role as a mom and a wife and not just as a person. I think recognition can be rare as a working mom, stay-at-home mom, single woman, whatever it is. And here with Plexus, recognition comes in all forms and consistently, and it's pretty darn amazing. I've earned, and I know several women on this call have earned iPads and Apple Watches and customized Nike shoes. Like, who does that? Minky Couture blankets, which if you don't know what that is, you need to look it up because it is the best blanket that I've ever had. Minky Couture. It is amazing. Stage recognition and huge cash bonuses and even phone calls all the way from the founder and president of Plexus. And that really speaks volumes about the integrity of our company and how deeply they care about the success of people who are building it, even if you're just starting out. And so I found myself along the way, like surrounded by driven women and life-giving women and fun women who were calling me higher. And they have become my closest friends. And we're a very close-knit community here. And we care way beyond just business, but all about life too. And we love to welcome new people in with open arms. So quickly, about a month into my journey, I made my first $300 to $400. I hit my goal, right? It was the exact amount I hoped for. And I remember saying things like, okay, babe, I'm going to cover the phone bill this month, or I've got the electric bill. It was really fun. It helped cover tire costs for our van and summer activities for our kids. And slowly, my husband's belief started to grow very slowly. And then came my first $1,000 paycheck with a comma. And you guys, I was shook. Like, I think I just, like, the tears, I was bawling. I'm like, it felt like a dream. Is this real life? Guys, I could not believe that I was making that kind of money from my phone by helping people. And that's when I could say yes to small but meaningful things again. Getting my hair done regularly, going to the nail salon, maybe it was an occasional massage. And we were able to start growing our savings account, which was really important to us. Dave Ramsey fans over here. And so, and then the bigger shifts happened. I was able to leave the classroom and come home, and that changed my life. I knew that this is what I wanted to do full time. Plexus has become one of the most rewarding things I have ever done. And shortly after I had my third baby, 2020 happened. And instead of slowing down, our team caught a massive wave of momentum. And 2 years into my business, we hit a monumental rank that opened a door for a six-figure income, a monthly vehicle bonus. Remember that, Lexus? A yearly luxury trip for two. And all of that happened while my baby was in the hospital with a rare staph infection. And it was a really scary and uncertain time. And my husband couldn't come into the hospital. My kids couldn't come into the hospital. And I was there for weeks on end. And I just remember that time was so special because my team rallied around me. And it's just emotional because it reminds me of this is so much more than just business. It's we moms or women are capable of incredible things, even in the hardest points of our life. And so I leaned in instead of leaning away, and I said, we're doing this. And we teamed up, and I think we made a miracle happen. But we hit an amazing rank, and it was just the most special emotional celebration. And I just think of that time as a lifeline. It's something that kept me distracted in a healthy way. It was a steady presence that I could go to. I could fit it in when I was in the hospital chair, and it was just an incredible blessing. So, one of my favorite things about hitting Emerald is that when you hit Emerald, Plexus will gift you an annual luxury trip for you and a guest. And I will tell you that they truly pull out the stops. I wish I could show you pictures right here. Ask the girls after the call and they'll send you pictures of our trips. But I'm talking about like shopping sprees at Bloomingdale's, to Caribbean celebrity cruises, to five-star resorts in Maui, Hawaii, and Mayakoba, Mexico, like places I would never ever imagine being able to experience. I was able to go on an Alaskan cruise, and so was Miranda and her husband and her family, and it was so cool. Again, something that would never have been in my mind of something I could make happen, but because of Plexus. And so I'm curious, I want to hear from you guys in the chat. If you were gifted a trip anywhere, where's one place you would love to go? What is like secretly on your bucket list where you're like, oh, if I could ever go here, this is where I would want to go? Italy. I know Europe is totally on my list. Alaska, I love it. Um, and so, and I've been able to bring my mom on trips with me, which is she still talks about it. It's been like 2 years. She's like, remember that trip? I've been able to bring my kids on trips with me, my husband, and like watching their joy and their excitement and their sense of wonder has been so surreal, worth every single difficult setback I have faced here because I've faced a lot. And the fact that Plexus is generous enough to cover these trips is still amazes me. It's not normal, it's not common, and it's one of the reasons I believe so deeply in this company and their generosity. And here's a part, you guys, that still humbles me. Last month, I made my largest paycheck here. It was about $15,000, and I could cry because it's just, again, I look at the you've been paid emails and I'm like, how am I making this money? It's I've worked very hard for it, but it's just amazing, the compound effect. When you help others and they help others, all of a sudden you're helping an infinite amount of women who are being blessed while you're being blessed in an immense way too. And so, but now because of this paycheck, my husband gets to take a missions trip to Africa. This has been on my dream board since I started my business 7 years ago. God put some visions in my head of what our house would look like eventually with the front porch and the country. We haven't got there yet, but I know it's coming. And he put a vision on my husband standing at the front door with his bags packed, and he's headed to Africa. And now that is coming a reality because I said, hey, take this portion of my paycheck and now you get to cover your trip completely. And so it's incredible, you guys. Those things that you kind of shove down in your heart, like, I really want this, but I don't know if I can ever have this, they can absolutely become your reality too. I am confident of it. And so, because of this business, our family has had options. We've slowed down our pace of life. We've been able to volunteer more, pursue our passions, give more generously, and more importantly, be present with our kids. We decided to homeschool because we could. My husband lost his job of 17 years in 2020, and we didn't have to panic. He didn't have to rush into another role or to 15 interviews. He chose to stay home and invest in our children. And now we get to homeschool together and parent together. And he hasn't had to miss a single first with our baby, who's now 5 years old. But it's really a dream that he prayed for a long time ago. Another thing that has come to fruition and to reality. And so we look ahead and, I'm thinking about paying for our kids' college costs at some point, and those are like the big dreams that I'm working on, right? Becoming totally debt free, traveling more. So, um, I want you guys to hear this. The people who question you in the beginning, like my husband questioned me, and now he's thanking me for sticking with it. The people who question you the most, they're going to be the ones who end up thanking you in the end. I'm positive. And so this journey has deeply transformed me as a mom, as a wife, as a friend, as a leader. I'm grateful for this refining process. And one of the reasons I keep saying yes to growth, even when it's uncomfortable, guys, because I do uncomfortable things every day, is because I'm raising three children who are watching me. Not what I say, but what I do. And I want my kids to grow up believing that big things don't just happen to special people. They happen to the ordinary people just like you and me who are willing to learn, to stretch, and stay faithful. So my hope is one day that my children, or at least my daughter, will join me here with Plexus. I think that would be the coolest thing. We already talk about it. She helps me set up like my little sip and sees and other things. But this is a gift that we can give to generations to come, and I can already see how it's going to impact my legacy. And so, as we're getting towards the end here, people ask me, has it been worth it? And my answer is always yes, over and over. Has it been easy? No. But honestly, anything meaningful you build, it requires effort and growth and perseverance. I fought a lot of mindset battles, mostly my own false stories I create in my mind, right? There's moments I questioned myself. I've felt insecure. I wondered if I could move forward. Moments I wondered if I had what it took. I have faced people stopping products, workers leaving Plexus. I've faced hurt, pain, rejection, but every part of it has been worth it. Worth it to out earn careers that you were told were the ceiling. Worth it to plan your life instead of react to it. Worth it to live out your dreams, not someday, but now. And worth it to change the trajectory of your family's future. To not have to wait for retirement to actually enjoy your life. So I made one decision early on in my business. I wasn't going to let my comfort zone keep me from everything that God had for me and for the others in my life and on my team. And that decision has carried me through the hard seasons of doubt, growth, momentum, and challenge. And it's become the anchor when things felt uncertain. So I want to pause here for a moment. And I'm not asking you guys to decide anything tonight, but I'm going to ask you a few honest questions that someone asked me because clarity often comes when we're willing to look at where we're headed. So the question is, you don't have to write this in the chat if you don't want. You can just write it on paper or just think it in your head. But if nothing changes in your life over the next 3 to 5 years, same schedule, same income, same level of stress, same amount of time with your family, how do you think you'll feel? If nothing changes in your life over the next 3 to 5 years, how will you feel? Will you feel content? Or would something feel unfinished for you like it was for me? If life stays exactly as it is right now, what moments might you miss out on? And when you picture yourself a few years from now, what would you regret more? Trying something and deciding it wasn't for you? Or never giving yourself the chance at all? That one is a gut punch. I also want you guys to be really clear about what it takes to be successful here. It doesn't take a certain personality. It doesn't take being extroverted. It doesn't take a specific age, background, experience. What it does take is a willingness to grow, a willingness to learn a skill set and get good at it, a willingness to be coachable. You're going to link arms with some really amazing women on this team. An openness for change, for the better, knowing that you want to change and you're willing to change. And your why is deeply personal. And we've just barely started to touch on that. But the women who do well here aren't those, they don't want to keep living life the way it is. They're willing to grow into something else so they can experience something else for them and their families. And the nice thing is you don't have to do this alone. We have a phenomenal system that you guys will plug into. You'll know exactly how to get started. You'll have support, collaboration, connection, and this is flexible. You don't have to leave a full-time job to make this work. You can build this in the pockets of your already busy day. You don't have a boss telling you when to work or where to work or even who to work for or with. And the ability to create your days the way you want to, that is one of the best gifts. So today, as a Sapphire Ambassador, I lead an incredible team, stay-at-home moms, homeschooling moms, single women, nurses, teachers, full-time professionals, and everyone in between. And we want you to join us. It really is something special here. And the impact we've created together, it's been a ripple effect of positive change within our families, our communities, and even the world. And it starts with one nervous step, one nervous yes. So if you're sitting there thinking, well, I've tried this before, Abby, or I don't think I'm cut out for this, or I'm too tired, too busy, too unsure, please hear this. I felt all that too. But God doesn't ask us to be perfect, right? He asks us to be willing. Are you willing? And sometimes the biggest blessing comes from the very thing we almost said no to. So, a year from now, if you're sitting in a completely different place, more confident, more supported, more options, more impact, more income, would it be worth it to get there? Type 1 in the chat if you think the answer is yes. And as you're doing that, I want to talk to you guys quickly about some of your leaders here and what their vision is for the future. So, Miranda has a big vision for where she's going. She's expanding her team as she grows towards the second to top rank in the company, the one that I'm currently at. She's passionate about developing leaders and helping moms step into financial freedom and time freedom and truly designing their days. She leads with drive, connection, and belief. One of her next goals is to grab her Lexus, just not as a milestone, but so that her family, when they travel back to Wisconsin, they have a vehicle to use. And knowing that she contributed that is a big deal. And more than that, she's building this as an example for her girls, showing them the impact a woman can make when she steps into her full calling. And then there's Emma, who's a sweet nanny, and she's looking beyond her current season and building a life she loves. She wants to move somewhere warm, purchase a home, and her dream is to be a stay-at-home mom. She loves being a part of our faith-based community and loves traveling, growing, and is excited to link arms with other women who want to grow in confidence and have more in their lives. And then we have Jen. Her vision is to have the freedom to travel and spend time with her family and grandchildren, which are so important to her. She wants to be able to do this as often as she wants without financial strain or time constraints or having to worry about using retirement money, from her hubby. And so she also wants to create, and I think this is so cool. She wants to create a sanctuary/recovery home that serves both those needing a second chance in life and people who are longing for community. And I think that is such a cool vision. And then Melissa, she was a NICU nurse and she recently came home. She's a mom of four, soon to be homeschooling family. Her vision is really about margin for her family, more presence with her kids, the ability to travel and give her kids experiences like she didn't have growing up, where travel feels normal and not rare. She has goals to pay off her student loan debt, and although they have a lot of family businesses, she sees the value of the Plexus income as a way to streamline her husband's efforts to be able to see him more at home. And then Mindy is pregnant with a sweet baby boy and about to be a family of 10. She lives in a small town in Wisconsin and is really excited about a way to serve others and become a better mom, wife, and leader through her flexible job here with Plexus while she keeps her family at the forefront. And so all different stories, right? All so unique, just like your own vision for your life. But here's what we all have in common. None of us had it figured out when we started. We didn't feel ready. We had to overcome things along the way, but we just had to simply say yes to start. So no matter what your goal is here, jumping off of this call, if you just want a little bit extra income like I did, or you're like, I just would love to schedule my own days, or come home from XYZ job, or have fewer hours away from my family, or be able to travel, or have total financial freedom, whatever your goal is, we love it. and we love you. And we are so excited to link arms with the women who are ready to take the next step if you decide this is something you would like to pursue. So, as we close, last question in the chat, what excited you the most from what you heard tonight? What excited you the most? And then I just want to say thank you. I know I blabbed on for 35 minutes, but thank you for showing up and thank you for carving out time and thank you for being willing to take a moment to step back and get honest with yourself about your life, your dreams, and your future. I know that takes courage. So thank you for joining me on my journey and for being so open to considering what your own could look like. And if something inside of you is stirring, like even quietly, I encourage you not to ignore that. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to make a decision right now, but honor the stirring because that prompting, I don't believe it's a coincidence. So talk with the woman who invited you, ask questions, stay curious because sometimes the smallest yes is the beginning of a life that looks very different a year from now. So, thank you, everybody, Miranda, friends, and hope you guys have a great night. Bye bye.
Thanks, Abby.